Hi friends, this is Miss K and we have another Matt and Molly story. Let's start with our Matt and Molly song. Repeat after me. Matt and Molly, Matt and Molly, language time, language time. Listen and look, listen and look. Here we go, here we go. Today's story is called A Very Cold Dog. What do you think that story could be about, friends? Who do you think could be in the story? I think a dog is in the story, and I think it might be about him being cold. Are you ready for picture number one? Here's picture number one. What do you see in picture number one? I see Matt, Molly, and a dog. The dog looks like he is frowning. Matt and Molly look like they're happy. It also looks like there's snow, and they have mittens and hats on. Matt and Molly are taking the dog for a walk. It is snowing and cold outside. Matt and Molly are wearing hats on their heads. Matt and Molly are also wearing mittens on their hands. What do you think will happen next, friends? Now for picture number two. What do you see in this picture? To me, it looks like the dog is shaking. Look at Matt and Molly's faces. They're not smiling anymore. Matt and Molly look at the dog. The dog is shaking. He is very cold. Look at their eyes. They're looking at the dog. What do you think will happen next, friends? Let's take a look at the next picture, number three. What do you see? It looks like Matt might have an idea. Molly's looking at Matt. Matt and Molly feel sorry for the cold dog. Matt gets an idea. What do you think will happen next, friends? What do you see in this picture? Matt puts his hat on the dog's tail. Molly puts her hat on the dog's head. They put their mittens on the dog's paws. Now the dog is nice and warm. The dog is happy. Look at his face. That's the end. Now let's go over our story one more time. Matt and Molly are taking the dog for a walk. It is snowing and cold outside. Matt and Molly are wearing hats on their heads. Matt and Molly are also wearing mittens on their hands. Matt and Molly look at the dog. The dog is shaking. He is very cold. Matt and Molly feel sorry for the cold dog. Matt gets an idea. Matt puts his hat on the dog's tail. Molly puts her hat on the dog's head. They put their mittens on the dog's paws. Now the dog is nice and warm. The dog is happy. Now it is time for our yes or no questions, friends. If you remember, the sign for yes is this. And the sign for no is this. Friends, is it raining in this story? No. Is it snowing in this story? Yes. Are Matt and Molly walking a cat? No. Are they walking a hamster? No. Are Matt and Molly wearing hats on their heads? Yes. Are they wearing hat? Okay, we did that question. Are they wearing mittens on their hands? Yes. Do Matt and Molly put a coat on the cold dog? No. Do they put their hats and mittens on the dog? Yes. Let's take a look. There the dog is, wearing their hats and their mittens on his paws. And it's snowing outside. Now it's time for our WH, that's our who, what, when, and our how questions. Who is walking in this story? Matt and Molly and the dog. Let's see. Who is cold? That's right, the dog is cold. He's shivering. How do Matt and Molly feel when they see the dog shaking? Look at their faces. They do not look happy. They look like they could be sad. What is Matt's idea? That's right, to put their hats and mittens onto the dog. How does the dog feel after Matt and Molly put the hats and mittens on him? That's right, he feels warm. There he is, warm and happy. Who in this group wore a hat to school today? I did not wear a hat to school today. When do you wear mittens? When it is cold outside. Who in this group wore mittens or gloves to school? I did not today. What else do people put on when they are cold? That's right, a warm winter coat. Thank you for joining me for our Matt and Molly story, A Very Cold Dog.